Welcome to Cara Regional Park, meeting place of the Burrard Inlet and Indian Arm.
We would not have fish in Kanaka Creek if we didn't have the Bell Irving hatchery.
There's a number of things we're trying to do right now to increase the survival of the smoke population.
Hi, I'm Candace Ng, and you're watching The Sustainable Region. Today, we're celebrating the richness and diversity of aquatic life in our regional parks. First up, a quick look at what Cara Regional Park has to offer. The waters of the Burrard Inlet, Indian Arm, and Sasamat Lake provide a healthy habitat for many species of aquatic life.
Welcome to Cara Regional Park, meeting place of the Burrard Inlet and Indian Arm. This park has been a gathering place for 3 millennia. The Tsleil-Waututh First Nation built a village here in Cara Bay where they fished, hunted, and gathered mussels and clams during the cold winter months. This mound is a direct link to that past. It's made up of buried layers of shells, bones, discarded tools, and the remains of homes. In more recent times, this same site was home to the Cara Dance Hall until the 1960s. Today, people continue to gather at Cara Regional Park. They come for crabbing and fishing, to share food at our reservable picnic shelters, to attend our community events and programs, to walk and hike the trails with views of mountain, marsh, and sea, and for First Nations canoe and kayak adventures with Takaya Tours. There are buses that will take you from Port Moody right to Sasamat Lake's White Pine Beach and a stone's throw away from Cara picnic area. There's also a bike path that goes right to Cara Bay's picnic facilities. Both Cara picnic area and White Pine Beach are wheelchair accessible. So bike, bus, boat, or drive on down to Cara and do what people have been doing here for over 3,000 years. Gather with family and friends.
Hey.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Robert Bateman. I've been playing around out in nature and painting nature all my life, but I got serious when I was 12. What we need to do in our society, all of us need to do, including me, we need to slow down. If there's a Metro Vancouver park near you, and I bet there is, get out there and enjoy it.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. We live in an area blessed with an abundance of creeks, streams, and rivers, and some might say that we take them for granted. But once a year, we celebrate Rivers Day and the hard work of the many volunteers that work to keep our waterways healthy and alive.
Rivers Day is an event celebrated throughout BC, but in Metro Vancouver, it's become synonymous with Kanaka Creek Regional Park in Maple Ridge.
It's a way to educate and raise awareness on the value of water quality, and not just for people to enjoy the rivers, but also for the creatures that live in the rivers and the plant life that lives alongside the rivers, because everybody is affected by the health of the river.
At Kanaka Creek, Rivers Day is run by KEEPS, the Kanaka Education and Environmental Partnership Society. It's an intimate event where the goal is not to attract huge numbers, but rather to have meaningful conversations about the importance of preserving Kanaka's ecological health.
We want to make it small enough that we can have one-on-one attention, bring the kids in and the families and get them out canoeing, getting them so they're quiet in the boat, to celebrate that and learn how to be safe in the water.
Keeps volunteers also run the Belle Irving Hatchery, growing the local salmon population and supplying stocks to other rivers in the Lower Mainland. It's quite an achievement for a hatchery run by volunteers.
We would not have fish in Kanaka Creek if we didn't have the Belle Irving Hatchery, nor would those 7 watersheds in Burnaby, Stony Creek, and Vancouver, nor would they have salmon. Since 1982 approximately, I think there's been over 7 million raised and released through this facility.
The Rivers Day event at Kanaka Creek features guided canoe tours. 13-year-old Brandon Davies is at the helm of this boat, and sister Sarah, 1 year older, sits at midship. Both quite literally lifelong Keeps members.
We've been with Keeps since my dad's been working there, which is pretty much since we were this tall.
Basically 13 years.
Long time.
Nature is really cool. People should acknowledge how cool nature is. You just look around and all you see is grass, but the tracks and stuff, it's like a story. You can see where the animals were, what they've done, how they've survived. It's pretty cool.
I just find it so enthusing, you know.
At the other end of the spectrum, volunteers who have been with Keeps since its inception. They are passionate about this park.
Kanaka is an amazing jewel. We can talk about the 7 or 8 different sets of waterfalls and the amazing beauty that each one of them brings. Even the ones that are 90 feet tall or the ones that are 22 feet tall. And at different seasons of the year, just, ooh. You can't be anything but passionate about it.
Awesome, good job. So you get your gummy bears, right, as rewards?
Yay!
Metro Vancouver is happy to let Keeps, its park partner, run this event. Metro has a tent with information about bears due to the high incidence of bear activity this year. But mostly, Metro Vancouver would like more people to be aware of the beauty of Kanaka Creek, a hidden gem amongst Metro's 21 regional parks.
It's really very special that we've managed to acquire 11 kilometers of this experience. So I really encourage people to come out and experience this and come to know Kanaka and love it the way that the Keeps people do, and of course the Metro Vancouver staff do too.
I'm very, very, very proud of my backyard, Kanaka Creek Regional Park.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. Our next item takes us to Aldergrove Lake Regional Park, home to 2 rare varieties of fish. But it's also home to an artificial lake that poses a potential hazard to those fish. As always, the challenge is how to maintain a precious habitat while at the same time allowing people to enjoy it.
This early morning swim was part of the triathlon at the 2010 BC Summer Games. As one of the 25 sporting events hosted in the Langley area, the organizers needed a location that allowed athletes to swim, bike, and run.
There's 3 components to a triathlon. There's a swimming component, a cycling component, and a running component.
Aldergrove Lake Regional Park was selected.
It's spectacular for this event. The lake feature is an amazing course for these kids to swim. It's a great distance. The cycling course is a 1 lap of this park, 1.6 kilometer route. Then they come back into the park and such a great trail system that will be just terrific.
For the teenage participants, it was an eventful, memorable day. But for the 280-hectare Metro Vancouver Park, it was just another example of its many variety of uses.
We have trail systems for walking, horseback riding, cycling. There's the Aldergrove Bowl area, which has a marsh pond and wildlife and birding and things like that. People are experience just about everything they want.
Situated on the South Langley-Abbotsford border, the rectangle-shaped park contains forests, streams, meadows, hills, and a large rock. A very large rock. But it's the park's namesake, Aldergrove Lake, that is the key attraction.
There's generation after generation of people that have come to the lake and they love it. It's a really great place for them to recreate for free.
Chlorine is added to meet health and safety standards. Otherwise, pathogens would thrive in the small lake and it would not be suitable for swimming.
Typically in a normal lake you wouldn't have a circulation system, you wouldn't be adding chlorine, and that's what we do here.
Another unusual aspect of this lake is its concrete liner.
That's one of probably the oldest components of the lake is the liner, and there's lots of cracks and leaks in that, and that's a big issue for us, for the environment.
As well, there are about 50 meters of underground pipes. There may be cracks in these pipes as well.
Typically chlorine will mitigate itself and be eliminated when it hits soils, but if you get channelizing, which could happen with leaks over a long period of time, that chlorine residual could travel over to Pepin Brook and potentially put fish at harm.
Fish here are no ordinary fish. Two endangered species make their home in Aldergrove Lake Regional Park, the Nooksack dace and the Salish sucker.
The Nooksack dace is found in Canada only in 4 streams, of which this is one, and another half a dozen or a few more in the United States, in Washington. That's also true of the Salish suckers. They're not widespread, as lots of other native species are, and now they have the misfortune of living in some of the most populated areas in British Columbia and Washington State.
Despite their overall limited numbers, they are thriving in the restored waterways in Aldergrove Lake Regional Park.
Metro Vancouver has been very supportive of converting it back into habitat. That really is its sort of best and highest use. Well, I can certainly say that if chlorine got into the stream, it would harm fish. A number of years ago, they built a little containment facility. Now they've been very conscientious about it, but it's a risk, sure, right there.
Most people enjoying the park don't know about its endangered fish or the risk of the lake's chlorine. But that may change in 2011 when a vision for Aldergrove Lake Regional Park will be created.
In the process of a management plan, there's always public consultation, and everybody has a chance to come and see what the plans look like and put in public comment on them.
City life can be hectic, but it doesn't have to be. An escape is nearby in Metro Vancouver Regional Parks. Peaceful, relaxing, restorative. With 21 regional parks in Metro Vancouver, there's a place in nature for you. Go to www.metrovancouver.org to find a regional park program near you.
Capilano River Regional Park is a real gem, and if you've never been here, it really is worth a visit. You can walk from the Cleveland Dam at the northern edge of the park all the way down to Ambleside Beach, and that's exactly what many people do each year at the annual COHO Walk.
Have a heart for salmon, salmon, hear us loudly decree.
It was good weather for salmon the day of the annual COHO Walk at Capilano River Regional Park.
And so hard to resist.
The weather was less than inviting, to say the least, but that didn't stop a few hundred people from hitting the trails.
Well, welcome to North Vancouver. But it's going to fill the reservoir up, that's a good thing.
Yeah, lived here all our lives, so we're used to rain. Doesn't stop you from getting out.
It looks worse from the inside of your cozy living room, but once outside,
You can't really do much about the weather, you just need good gear. And you get good gear, you can hike in anything. I've told by my operations manager that this is the first time in 17 years that it's rained this hard.
Yeah, you can't stop us. We're gonna go. I have to walk them anyway, so.
Music wasn't the only diversion en route.
That's the pouch for some special fairy dust. How about we wish the salmon a great journey? How's that? Everybody can
Ready? 1, 2, 3, ready? You go.
1, 2, 3.
The route of the COHO walk runs alongside the Capilano River and ends at Ambleside Park, the site of the annual COHO Festival.
Wild sockeye.
Money raised through the sale of barbecued salmon is the main source of funds for the COHO Society. It supports salmon enhancement programs on the North Shore to ensure that salmon stocks remain sustainable.
The money raised from the festival, we give back to the community. So volunteer groups like Stream Keepers, the Seymour Salmonid Society, any volunteer environmental organization who has a project that needs funding, they apply to us and we give them money.
The Society usually raises $25,000 to $30,000 at this event. This year, it's not as successful from a financial point of view, but the organizers say that's not the point.
It's not nearly the turnout that we've had in other years, but people's spirits are great. Everybody who is here is having fun, and they're here because they love it.
Ready, set, go!
They want to be here, and the rain doesn't seem to bother them. It hasn't bothered any of us, except that we like more numbers. We like to see more people come.
Can you guys make it rain? I'll make my fish swim up.
A rare washout, but not so bad when looked at in the context of what the Society's been able to accomplish.
Over the last 31 years, we've been able to put over $500,000 back into the community from the monies raised from the salmon barbecue. It's pretty impressive. You see salmon coming back into rivers and our local waterways that there was nothing in there before. It's all about the environment and all about making people more aware, and it's working.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region and our look at how our regional parks support a diversity of fish. The Capilano River is a major spawning ground, but the presence of the Cleveland Dam that holds back our drinking water makes survival in this river an even tougher challenge.
It's a sight that tourists love. The awesome force of thousands and thousands of liters of water shooting out of the spillway at the Cleveland Dam in Capilano River Regional Park. It's beautiful, but it's also deadly. Baby fish, or smolts, have little chance of survival when they begin their journey back to the sea in the spring.
During the smolt outmigration, we have a lot of snow melt, very high flows. The water spilling over Cleveland Dam is really significant. Lots of power, but you can see the size of rocks it moves here. And the smolts take their toll, of course, if they're hitting any of these rocks.
The Capilano River is home to 3 species of fish, COHO and Chinook salmon, and precious steelhead, whose numbers have been in serious decline. The high mortality rate for those smolts had resulted in the Capilano River being placed on the endangered rivers list as recently as 2007. Breaking up the rocks at the base of the dam is just one measure being taken to make sure this river doesn't end up on that list again.
So there's a number of things we're trying to do right now to increase the survival of the smolt population. We've gone 2 years with trapping and trucking the smolts, where we trap the smolts in the reservoir and in the upper river. And then we put them in a truck and haul them around to below Cleveland Dam into the lower Capilano River. But that's has limited success because it's a form of fishing and you never catch all the fish. So the fish we don't catch still migrate over the spillway.
It's estimated that 60,000 fish make their winter home in Capilano Lake. About 25% of those are captured and released below the dam. There is evidence that these wild fish are finding their way back to the Capilano to spawn. The Department of Fisheries and Oceans runs a hatchery further south in the canyon, where the river's stock is being closely monitored.
So this is the only wild fish that we have in there today. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to scan it with my handheld detector and look for what's called a pit tag. And if it's tagged, obviously it is one of the fish that had safe passage from above the dam. And lo and behold, it has a tag. So this is a survivor from above the dam. So I'm going to write down that number. We collect all this data for the consultants who work for Metro Vancouver.
Increasing the number of those survivors is key to keeping Capilano off the endangered rivers list. Breaking up the boulders at the base of the dam is another short-term fix.
Essentially, the crew drills the boulders, and they use a non-explosive technique to break these rocks into smaller pieces. It's called a rock buster. But essentially, they drill one hole, that they fill it up with water, and they put a charge, and it's just a mechanical trigger which sets off that little charge inside the hole, and the rocks break into smaller pieces.
Fire.
So we just keep doing that until we're satisfied that the rocks are small enough. Anything we can do in the upper watershed to improve the population, the better off we're going to be. We're awfully down to some very low numbers, and it's really to the point of maintaining the survival of some of these fish runs.
In the long term, Metro Vancouver is developing a water use plan that will also examine whether the force of this water could be used to generate power. Changing the dam's infrastructure to make that happen could also be an opportunity to build an even better safe passage for Capilano's smolts.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. As an organization, Metro Vancouver has made a commitment to support the local arts. Connecting people to nature through the arts is a natural fit. That's why Metro puts on a variety of art-related events like the Minnetonka Art in the Park Festival.
We are in Minnetonka Regional Park, and today is the second day of the second annual Minnetonka Art in the Park Festival.
The two-day event featured the nature-inspired works of about 30 artists, displayed inside a historic lodge and outside amongst green ferns and rhododendrons.
Can you help me out? Can you hold out your hand just like this?
We also have a roving magician, a children's entertainer.
These are the hands of a highly skilled magician.
We've got a couple different art workshops where kids can make masks or do some coloring. It's just been really positive response. People love it. They love the jazz music that you can hear in the background. And a lot of people have said, I've never heard of this park, or I've never been to this park before. The only reason I'm here is because of this festival. So it's actually bringing a whole bunch of people to the park that have never been here before.
Creative, colorful, and charismatic. That's a fitting description for both this annual August event and its visionary founder, Roger Lubert.
The idea of the Art in the Park basically was to get the creatives to discover what this place is. Obviously the nature lovers already know it, and they're very creative by the nature of loving nature. And then the creatives people discover nature, which they always fall in love with. So it's a winning formula, it's a win-win. And so this was the whole gamble, and I feel we're pulling it off.
Using the park's marsh as a canvas, Roger's formula also allowed for events to come about through inspiration, such as one artist's link to the Francophone community in this Coquitlam area.
And she's one for tradition, so she went, we got blessed, with branches on the head, and she was recreating, much like the Voyageurs, basically. So I got very excited by it. So then the First Nations part of it, it's Voyageur, well, they met up with First Nations.
This is something that our people keep on getting in touch with, is our traditional grounds.
This is what, to me, the spirit of Minikata is. And this was the basis of the whole idea behind the festival. It's called the gathering. You learn about each other. You go at the human level of discovery and exploration.
Watch for this event in Minikata Regional Park in late August.
That's it for this episode. We hope you've enjoyed visiting some of the 21 parks in Metro Vancouver's regional park system. Let us know what you think about today's show or suggest some story ideas. You can reach us by phone at 604-436-6794 or by email at sustainableregion@metrovancouver.org. For the Sustainable Region, I'm Candace Ng. Thanks for watching.